Well, welcome to Coffee with Job for Thursday. I think this is number 9 and we're at Job chapter 3. By the way, if you want to catch up with any of this, they're all obviously on the YouTube channel. We're going to look at chapter 3 verse 11. Let me just read from that. Why did I not perish at birth and die as I came from the womb? Why were there knees to receive me and breasts that I might be nursed? For now I would be lying down in peace, I would be asleep and at rest with kings and rulers of the earth, who built for themselves places now lying in ruins, with princes who had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Or why was I not hidden away in the ground like a stillborn child, like an infant who never saw the light of day? There the wicked cease from turmoil, and there the weary are at rest. Captives also enjoy their ease, they no longer hear the slave drivers shout. The small and the great are there, and the slaves are freed from their owners. I don't know if you've ever reached that stage in your life where you think, even for a while, what if I jump? What if I swallow those pills? Thoughts of suicide are far more common than a lot of people realize, and sometimes even for Christians. I remember being immensely shocked reading about Hugh Miller, just an amazing man, one of the founders of the Free Church, who committed suicide because I think it seemed as though there was a brain tumor, and who knows what went on? Who knows what went on? But at this time in pandemic, the number of suicides are rising and increasing. I mean, it astounds me that 50 young people per day in New South Wales are going into hospital. And there are many attempted suicides. And here's Job, and he's saying, instead of just saying, no, don't do that, he's expressing something that I think people understand. So, for example, he regrets that he was able to sit on his mother's knee, that he was fed, because it means he's still alive. He'd be better off being a stillborn child. The way to describe it is this: the stage on which his life was being played has now collapsed. It had become a theatre of the absurd. A place where the normal rules have disappeared, where good is not rewarded and where evil is not punished, where bad things happen to good people, and where the law of cause and effect no longer seems to apply. The moral order has gone. Suffering has no meaning. Joni Eareckson was looking for answers, and she turned to read Job. I mean, look at Joni's book. It's just amazing. She's an amazing person. I once met her, by the way, in a lift. I think it was in Jackson, Mississippi. And she's just as lovely as she comes across in her books. And she says this: what if God had suddenly consented to all my queries? Could I even have begun to handle it? It would have been like pouring 1,000,000-gallon truths into a 1-ounce container. My poor pea brain would have not been able to process it. Listen, the devil does attack our brains. The devil does drive us to despair. The devil does overwhelm us. Is Satan at work here? Yes. Now, just interestingly, Job doesn't believe that death is the end. This is not what he's saying. He believes there's a kind of shadowland where social inequalities are evened up. Your rich homes, they're no use to you in Sheol. Social distinctions are removed in death. The pauper who dies is like the billionaire who dies. That was a big step for Job, by the way, who was extremely wealthy, to understand. Contrast this with the Egyptian view of the afterlife, with the pyramids, where you take your wealth with you. Now, this is not yet a full Christian eschatology. What I mean by that, it's not yet a full Christian view of what happens at the end. And again, none of it makes sense without Christ. But the point about what we're looking at today is the Bible understands your despair. Jesus understands your despair. And he comes to rescue us from that. So don't feel guilty about feeling despair, but don't think that your pit is the end of things. All right, we'll come back tomorrow. God bless you, and I hope that you do have a joyful day, even as we consider these things.